Good evening. My name is Randy Rosenblum, and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. I'm your host, Tarek Fatal is going to be my co-host tonight. We have Tony Moskal on hand. He's going to be a sports reporter for us, and he really knows his stuff. He's seen on a lot of outlets around Southern California. And we also have Lior Schwartzberg, the head coach of Valley Torah, which didn't quite make it to Sacramento, but his Wolfpack won 30 games. And it's all basketball primarily tonight. We just had the regional finals, and the state championships in Sacramento begin tomorrow. And speaking of Sacramento, locked up in a hotel room representing the Daily News and our SoCal Prep Report is Tarek Fatal. Tarek, good evening.
Another day in paradise, Randy.
Well, what's happening in Sacramento? What'd you see today?
It's actually a beautiful day. Blue skies, about 70 degrees. Got in about 1:30, checked in. Seamless flight, seamless landing. It's been really, really good, and got 2 full days of basketball Friday and Saturday, and some state champions will be crowned.
I didn't want a weather report. I thought you were going to go to the practices, tell me what was going on, but no, I get the weather report. We'll find out when we get to the games in a moment what your thoughts are on these contests. But I do want to also showcase Tony Moskal. Tony is a very opinionated guy. He's an acquired taste, but we love him. Tony Moskal, how are you tonight?
I am good, Randy, and I really don't have an opinion on anything right now.
Yeah, that's a rarity. I don't believe that for a moment. All right, let's get an opinion on Corona Centennial winning the Open Regional Championship after winning the CIF Southern Section Championship. They dominated Sierra Canyon, won it 83-59. They haven't had a close game. They've slaughtered everybody, these Huskies. They've won 29 in a row. So we'll start with Tarek. How good is Corona Centennial? People are saying they might be the best team ever, even better than the team at Chino Hills with the Ball brothers.
Very good. Corona Centennial is got everything you want. They've got great guard play. They play good defense. They play as a unit. They share the ball. Jared McCain is the most highly touted kid, and he only had 10 points, but I think he finished with like 14 rebounds. So you're talking about a selfless team, a Josh Giles coached team that's locked in. They play like 8 guys, and they go to war, man. And that's why they're so tough to beat. Doesn't matter who you are, what your ranking is. They play absolutely hard, and that's what they did. And it was really no contest. They got out to a 9-0 run. Ramsey Huff, who's really a defensive player, stepped up, made some threes. And when the scouting report for the opposition is let Ramsey Huff shoot because that's the poison you're going to pick, and he goes for 20, you're going to lose. And that's what happened on Tuesday night.
And in this highlight package, number 23, Huff hitting shot. Williams, number 22 at 6'8", is a terrific stretch forward. I know, Tony, you saw these Huskies against Bishop Montgomery in the playoffs, and you were impressed.
I was incredibly impressed. And you were standing there when we asked Coach Giles, what is the key to his success? And Tarek, you said it. They're selfless. They don't care who scores. They don't care who gets the credit. And it's not only the kids. He said it's the parents as well. And in high school sports these days, you've got parents that are pulling for other kids that don't care if their kid gets 20 points or 25 points. They just want that team to win. And Tarek, you said it in your article, or you wrote it in the article about the game where Andre Chevalier said that was a fractured team all year. And the game against Harvard Westlake that they won to get to the Open Final was really one of the first times that they were really together all year. And so when you look at Corona Centennial, those kids have been there for 4 years. And when you look at Sierra Canyon, and I'm not knocking them, they're a great program. They're very successful at what they do. But when you're bringing in, 3 guys this year and 3 guys next year and a couple of that, it's tough to build chemistry. Giles has the chemistry with those kids, and that's why they've only lost 1 game this year, and that's why they are so good.
So Corona Centennial, 2-time Open CIF Southern Section Division champions. Now they win the regional title, opportunity to win a state title on Saturday, and we'll get to that game a little bit later. All right, let's go to D1, where Damien got by Crean Lutheran. This was not unexpected. Damien was the favorite here, and they got by Crean Lutheran. Crean Lutheran was ahead by 11 in the second half. Tarek, I know you thought going in, Damien had a great chance to win this game.
Right. You're talking about two teams that were in the open division and then it didn't work out and then they were down in division one. So it's not a surprise that two open division sectional qualifiers ended up being the regional finals in division one. And Damian, I mean, yeah, well coached with identity, and that's going to win you a game deep into the playoffs. Again, I've seen Crane Lutheran play. They have talent. I just felt like they were not coached up, not prepared in certain elements. And when you come up against a well-coached team like Damian, they're going to exploit some of those things, and they did. So now they're playing for a state championship.
Indeed, too, and I'll bring in Tony for this one. Foothill 46, Los Altos 41. That's a qualifier for the state championship. Foothill led by Cruz Billings. Los Altos has the big guy Jazz Gardner and a great guard by the name of C.J. Bellamy. But it wasn't enough, Tony. This Foothill team is very scrappy out of Santa Ana. They didn't lose very many games all year long.
And the thing, Randy, is sometimes, and those of us that are in the older generation, we make fun of this generation where there's no work ethic and they're not tough and they're not all of those things that say we grew up with. But that Foothill team, you say scrappy, yeah, that's a great quality to have, because if you're going to go up against a team that's going to scratch and claw and fight for everything, you're going to be in for a battle for a full 32 minutes. And that is, I think, the identity of this team. And that's why they've got so much success, because they just refuse to give up and they just compete for a full 32 minutes.
Division 3. The LAUSD has a team in the state championships. The Venice Gondoliers 62, Viewpoint 55. Tyler Hunt is a terrific sophomore guard for the Gondos. And I know, Tark, you were not surprised. You saw both these teams throughout the year. And Venice, this is a huge breakthrough for the city section.
Not only did Venice go on the road and beat Rancho Verde, the number 1 seed, then they came to Calabasas and took down Viewpoint, who I thought was going to win the game. So, listen, there's not only a Cinderella story aspect to what Venice is doing, but that's a city section team, right? We're talking about a district that was the most strict when it came to COVID protocol from the very beginning. We're talking about athletic activity shut down. And then finally, all you can do is condition. Zoom workouts. I mean, they were the last to turn the corner on a lot of stuff, right? And here's this Venice team, despite all that, which, we have a high school basketball coach in Lior on. We can, he would tell you all those hours that are left behind, they matter in a season. And when those aren't in the
All right, thank you, Tarek. You're frozen a little bit in time in Sacramento. Scripps Ranch won the D4 over Valley Torah, 68-54. We'll talk to Lior momentarily, the head coach, and we'll get more info on that game. Tony, the girls' game, open division, Sierra Canyon 60, Etowanda 51. Juju Watkins scoring 29 points. Sierra Canyon, a spectacular team. They avenged the loss in the open division championship game. They get revenge in the regional game and knock off the Eagles of Etowanda.
Well, it's the cliche, Randy. It's tough to beat a good team twice. And those are two excellent teams. And you talk about Juju Watkins, and we've been around a while. She is one of the top 3 girls basketball players I've ever seen. Katie Lou Samuelson from Mater Dei and Kiki Iriafen from Harvard Westlake, and Juju. An unbelievable talent this young lady has. Not only the way she handles the ball, but just her on-court presence, her demeanor, where that she's in charge. She can beat you from the outside. She can beat you driving. She's a great rebounder. She's a great passer. And I'm not surprised that Sierra Canyon did avenge that loss.
And in D1, Windward 61, Orangewood Academy from Orange County 58. Not a surprise Windward gets through there. They played against the likes of Juju Watkins and Sierra Canyon during the regular season. Windward played a tough schedule, and historically, they've been a great girls program, Tony.
Well, when you look at, you lose Juju, you lose your coach, Vanessa Nygaard. She goes, to bigger and better things. And, when a lot of teams lose a huge player like Juju, it's kind of like, everybody looks around to see who's going to be the one to take charge. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's a collective group of people. And like you said, you play a tough schedule, you prepare yourself because your expectation is to get to that final game. And look what happens. They get there, other people step up, and the proof is in the pudding with them.
Yeah, and you bring up a valid point. Juju Watkins left Windward to go to Sierra Canyon to chase a championship and have all the accolades of what Sierra Canyon brings, and it's worked for her. But as she leaves, Windward continues as well, and they're in a position to win a state title. So it could be by the end of the weekend, both Sierra Canyon and Windward, the two stomping grounds of Juju Watkins the last couple of years, they both could win state titles. How remarkable would that be, Tony Moskal?
I think it's great, Randy, and I think it's a credit to both, because we know Sierra Canyon is a top-notch program. But when you look at Windward, you think, how are they going to react? Are they going to really dwell on the loss of this, probably the best player in the country in her class? And when you look at, the coach and the job that they've done, and, kids can say, oh, poor us, we lost, our best player. And they can always kind of, you can go one of two directions here. You can feel sorry for yourself, or you could say, you know what, it happened. Let's get it together. Let's hike up our bootstraps and let's go out and win some basketball games.
All right, Tarek, we have you back. You've come back to us from outer space. We love it. Your thoughts on Juju Watkins and Sierra Canyon. Then we'll bring in Coach Lior Schwartzberg of Valley Torah.
It's the Holiday Inn internet. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm sorry, but I'm doing my best. Juju Watkins, I mean, yeah, right? Come on, man. Put me in the penthouse. Yeah, I think that Juju Watkins is the best player in America, and she's only a junior. I mean, she just won the Gatorade California Girls Player of the Year. She'll probably win it again next year. She's going to be a McDonald's All-American. I mean, her workouts are that of pro level already, and that's why she's got the team in the state championship. So I do think, like you brought it up, ironically, Windward is also in the state championship in Division I, so I think that's actually kind of cool. But Juju Watkins is kind of an anomaly when it comes to her talent and her skill level for girls basketball here, and not even in California, just in the country.
Now let's introduce Lior. He's a good guy. Schwartzberg from Valley Torah. They've won 30 games. They get eliminated, but they went all the way to the regional finals. Coach, welcome and congratulations on a phenomenal season. I like the beard. It fits the Valley Torah image, right?
It does. It also, I actually decided to have a playoff beard this year, and my wife is upset that we won so much and the beard stayed on for so long. And but it is going to come down soon. It's going to come down soon.
What also came down this year was great success for you. And I want to read what you said about your team. We're short, not big, not strong, but we don't care. We play with heart. You love this team, don't you?
Love them. I'm very sad to see this year come to an end. They just play hard. Look, every team we play, they're going to have guys that are bigger than us. We're not always going to be the fastest, most athletic team, but the passion and the level of energy that they play with is off the charts. We played a very tough schedule there in state. Every game was on the road. And we knew we were the underdogs every game. And the guys, I don't think they really cared or really were aware. They just wanted to play basketball. They wanted to give it the best shot that they had and compete at the highest level. So from Westchester all the way to Scripps Ranch, they just wanted to give it everything. They knew that we were supposed to lose. So there's nothing really to lose in the state tournament. And they played that way. And it's indicative of how hard they played the whole year. I think that, near the end of the year, we had some tough games, and going to the playoffs, we had some tough games. And I think it helped us, but they played really hard.
Tarek, do you have a question for the coach?
I don't mean to skip too much to the future, but the majority of the team comes back. Is there an element, coach, where you're thinking, man, this team was ahead of schedule? Now, when you're making a playoff run like that, I think any coach would agree you need a little luck, right? You need to be playing at the right time. Things have to click at the right time. But a majority of that team comes back. For you, that's got to be pretty exciting.
It's exciting. It's usually when we have a team like this good at Valley Torah, it's a lot of seniors and juniors. We're led by sophomores and juniors that are young enough to be sophomores. I know that I mentioned to you before that our two starting juniors are actually, they just turned 16. They traditionally would be sophomores as well. And we do have a senior that does start, but he hasn't played all of playoff. He actually rolled his ankle pretty bad the first defensive possession of the first game of the first round of Southern Section. So it's exciting to have them back. The concern is always losing that edge of, nobody believes in us. We're the underdog. It's going to be a different paradigm shift to, we have to play at a certain level every game, because now we're not going to be underestimated. Now people kind of know a little bit more, and they're not going to look past us regardless of who it is. So it's nice to have. It's just, we got to make sure that we start the year off with the right tone next year, not lose what got us here.
I know Tony's not shy. He definitely has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, when you look at a team, when you're the underdog and you're expected to lose, and we've all seen this in sports, how easy is it to go and look at a group of kids and go, hey, guys, we're expected to lose. Just go out and do what you do. Have fun with it. Do you enjoy that, or do you enjoy maybe being the favorite more, and maybe there being some pressure on you?
I think players play better when they feel like they got nothing to lose. I think what you said is exactly what we spoke about right before we played Westchester, right? We're not supposed to win this game. We're going to Westchester. They're the number 1 seed. We're 16. They were a borderline open division team in the city section, and they moved down to Division 1 last, with a loss late in the season. We weren't supposed to win. So I told them basically just compete, give it your best shot, and have fun. It's not every day that a school like us gets to drive down to Westchester and play on that floor and play against that team with that tradition. So enjoy the moment. And before you knew it, we were up 20-2. And I guess they over enjoyed the moment a little bit.
Coach, you got the yarmulkes on. There's this image of Jewish athletes that they're really not that great. Are teams taking you guys for granted, not taking you seriously? And you guys mean business when you come into the gymnasium, don't you?
We do mean business. I don't know if they're overlooking us. Maybe there was a certain element of it early on. But we've had success in the last couple of years. So it's not a complete coincidence that we're in the place that we're at. But also, I think with a lot of the press that our schools received from Ryan Terrell leading the NCAA in scoring in all levels this year, I think people knew the name a little bit. So I don't know if we were completely overlooked. I think that it's in the state tournament as a 16 seed on the road, playing a couple Division 1 teams, maybe they just looked at our schedule and said, their league isn't very strong. Who are some of these teams that they played? Maybe our competition wasn't great. Don't look at the score. You're going to do fine. I don't know that for a fact. I didn't speak to the other coaches about what they thought about us, but I'm sure there's a little element. I used to always tell my assistants when we won a game we weren't supposed to, it's the keeper effect. Teams look at us warming up. We have a keeper on. We're short. And they probably just say, oh, this is going to be easy tonight. And we always talk about landing the first punch in a game. And I think one thing we're very good this year is landing the first punch in the game. And every game that we've actually lost this year, we were up to start the game. 2 of our losses this year were up double digits in the second half. And 2 of them were up single digits in the second half. But we had the lead, and we always were pretty good at landing the first punches. Some teams we just needed to punch a little harder, and we didn't. And that's why we came out short. But I think the first couple of minutes when teams play us, definitely there is that keeper effect that I talk about, but I don't think that they completely overlook us, having had pretty good players in the past.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Congratulations on a phenomenal season, a great accomplishment. You don't have the raw talent of a Westchester or a Chatsworth or some of these other city teams and Southern Section schools you beat up on, but to win 30 games, you got that program going in 7 years. Congratulations. Keep it going. And we thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's Lior Schwartzberg from Valley Torah. Now we're going to talk about the state championship games that are coming up, and we'll bring Tony Moskal back in as well for this conversation. And we got to start with Centennial. Corona Centennial going for its first state championship ever against Modesto Christian. They got a young man by the name of Phillips who averages 24 a game. I know, Tarek, you'll be covering this game. They look unstoppable, Corona Centennial. Does Modesto Christian have a real shot?
I would say because they're playing in the game, yes, of course, you always have a shot. I would say the percentage is very small because Corona Centennial is just a well-oiled machine. Taking on Harvard Westlake, beat them. Taking on Sierra Canyon, beat them. I mean, that was kind of that you might drum that up like that was the state championship right there. But one more game to play, and I will tell you this. I'll say there's extra incentive for that Corona Centennial team because they didn't get to play in the state championship last year when they won the Southern Section Championship. Now, they decided not to play in the regional tournament because they did something else as a team late in the year. We won't go into too much of that because it was.
Well, that was because of COVID. They elected to go to a tournament in Arizona.
Correct. They won the Southern Section, but there was not even a state championship to play for last year, which is why they elected to not compete in the regional playoff. If there was a state championship to play for, they would have played. Sure. So you're talking about a team that didn't even get a chance last year, earned it, didn't get a chance, and now here they are again. So it's almost like they're trying to win 2 state championships in one game, so to speak. So there's going to be a lot of incentive, and I just don't see them losing.
Yeah, again, they have a 29-game winning streak, the Huskies, the longest in school history, and they've never won the state championship. Tony, your thoughts about Centennial? Are they a shoo-in this weekend?
Well, they're 7.5-point favorites against the Lakers right now, but then again, so is everybody. But I was talking to the St. Joe's head coach, Tom Mott, when I did the Harvard Westlake St. Joe's game. And he said to me, and he's got a pretty good program up there. He said that Southern California Open Division is the best in the country. And Tarek, we see, the Trinity League in football, the best in the country. This Open Division that we have in the Southern section for basketball, I don't think there's anybody better. So Modesto Christian, all due respect to them, but you look at this Corona Centennial team, and they are insane. They have everything. There's nothing they don't have. I'll take them and give 15.
Well, you said they're a 7.5-point favorite against the Lakers. That's with Anthony Davis in the lineup. Without Davis, it's probably double digits.
It could be 20.
Centennial. Speaking of Sierra Canyon, who didn't get there on the boys' side, their girls' team is there, and they play the team from San Jose, Mitty, and Mitty has a great athletic program. They're 30-1. I do not think the Trailblazers are a shoo-in, Tarek.
Of course, that game might be a little tighter when comparing the open state final between Modesto Christian and Corona Centennial. So, yeah, maybe a little bit more of a game there on the girls' side, but again, when you've got the best player on the floor, you always have a chance, and that's going to be Juju Watkins, who we spoke about just a couple of minutes ago. So I see the Sierra Canyon girls winning for the second time in a row. I believe they won in 2019, and now here they are again in the 2022 Open Division State Championship. So I'm actually going to find a way to get to their shoot-around tomorrow, kind of get a pulse on the team before they play on Saturday night. So looking forward to catching up with the team tomorrow.
And Tony, it's not just all Juju Watkins. They got Gilbert Arenas' daughter on the team, Randolph's daughter's on the team, who had a great career in the NBA. There's some other players on that Trailblazer girls team.
Well, Randy, when you look at basketball, it's not just one player. This is a very balanced team. And when you talk about these other players that have NBA pedigree, you look at the boys program over at Sierra Canyon, and all of the NBA pedigree that they have. You've also got it in the girls' game on the girls' team as well. So these girls have grown up around the game. Their fathers played. They probably played in the driveway like everybody else. And you're going up against NBA players. And dads, we don't like to let our kids win. So there's a toughness there. There's a grit and a determination and a pretty good skill set.
All right, one last one in terms of basketball for each of you. The D game, the D4 game with Venice and Pleasant Valley. Tark, Venice against Pleasant Valley. That Pleasant Valley team is 31-3. They have 4 players averaging in double figures. I would think the Gondoliers might even be the underdog here.
I think they are. I think they are, but that's okay. They've been the underdog the whole state. Like nothing they haven't felt before, nothing they're not used to. So, I would say Venice again has that story where they were up against it with dealing with the LAUSD COVID protocols and so on, and they lost a lot of time with each other. But here they are persevering, and they're playing for a state title. So, I'm gonna call Venice as the winner because they're kind of the hometown team, so to speak, from the South. But yeah, it'll be an uphill battle.
Yeah, that's 2 public schools, and I should say that's a D.
Where there's smoke, I'm sorry, there's fire.
Well, make the Tark. You give us your final 30 seconds on that subject matter.
I think Tony covered it for the most part. You just again, I don't know everything that went on there, but when you talk about it being a one-time incident, that's really not okay either. But you'd hope it's not a culture. You'd hope that there's not a dozen other videos, 2-3 dozen other videos of kids fighting in the locker room, because that would be a major issue. Doesn't make it just one issue, one fight. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. It's not okay. But if it's bigger than that, that needs to be dealt with.
Go. But now, again, Kevin Kiernan said they'll keep him as their head coach, and they should. Bruce Rollinson's had a phenomenal record. They won the state title. They were 12-0. They win championships all the time. Tony, thank you. Tark, very much appreciate you coming in from Sacramento to join us. And when we leave you, we're going to leave you with a little bit of a tribute here. A wrestler who formerly went to Bell, who has passed away, is going to go into the Hall of Fame. There's his picture. We appreciate his efforts. He's going to be going in Dallas, and WrestleMania is coming up. He was with WWF at the time. It's now WWE, and he will go into the Hall of Fame. And he was a former gentleman out of Bell High School. And again, that's going to wrap it up on SoCal Prep Report for tonight. For Tarek Fatal and Tony Moskal, Lior Schwartzberg, who joined us from Valley Turf. They had a great year on the basketball hardwood. I'm Randy Rosenblum. We'll see you next Thursday night right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.